Hello everyone, this is Kubra Ali, your host on Voice of Toronto TV. Today we are doing a special transmission live for elections 2022, and today with me we have a very special guest, Liberal MPP candidate, Jannat Grewal. Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank
How
you
are
for
you
having
doing?
me. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in our show.
I really appreciate the time that you're giving me, so thank you so much.
Thank you. So how was your day?
It was good. We, lots of media and lots of interviews. We're getting our platform across to all of our viewers, but we're going door knocking every day as well. We have a big team. Tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow is advanced voting between May 19th to May 28th. So we got in our last round of door knocking today.
Oh, that's great.
And we're going to be pulling vote for a while now.
Oh, that's nice to know. And can you talk about your campaign and writing?
Okay, so my name is Jannat Grewal, and I'm the Ontario Liberal candidate for Brampton East. I've lived in this riding since 1999. I have a tutoring center there as well, so I'm an educator and small business owner. So during this pandemic, it was very difficult because Brampton, as you know, is full of small businesses.
Right.
So it's so important that we support our small businesses, we support our children. Brampton East is a great riding. We have great constituents, lots of hardworking people in our community that deserve a strong voice in this election.
Oh, nice. So can you talk about your area problems?
So every day, again, we go door knocking and we are hearing problems with crime, healthcare system and our education system, affordability. The affordability crisis right now is taking over. We just got out of a pandemic and now we're dealing with an inflation.
Right.
So, affordability is a huge issue right now. And we want to give our constituents some peace.
Okay.
So our platform is very based off of affordability in your everyday life, but also with big purchases. We want to make sure that we're taking care of our community, especially after this pandemic. We saw how the Ford government had treated our community, and it's so important that we stand up against the Ford government, ask them tough questions about why they decided to prioritize big corporations instead of the people who make up our community.
Right. Can you talk about the crime? What do you want, about the crime you would...
So we have carjackings a lot on our street and on all of our streets. I remember door knocking in my riding and somebody had taken all the Lexuses off of one street because I guess they get the code or something. And carjackings are really huge because it's not just about the car, it's about people have their personal belongings in their car.
I know.
So it's like you lose a bit of yourself. It's violating to know that you can lose your car in your own driveway. It makes your home feel unsafe.
The same thing happened in my area as well.
Yeah. And it's just, your home should feel like a safe space.
True.
So if people are getting away with carjackings every day, and we don't know what these people have in their cars. We don't know if they're armed with guns, knives, what they have, right?
True.
So the Ontario Liberal Party wants to ban guns. We will be selling them and we will be getting rid of them off the streets because our children don't deserve guns in our community. And I personally have worked with the regional councillor in my riding to make sure that we bring a Peel Police community station to the Gore Meadows Community Center. So that is actually going to be a crucial piece this coming in September because then we will get quicker patrolling. So what happens in our riding, everyone has been complaining that they steal your cars around 4 a.m. and the police don't get there until 10. So there's not enough resources for our Peel Police, which we need to be working on.
Right. Right. And can you talk about the expensive education for universities we have?
Of course. I think it was one of the biggest mistakes that the Ford government made was canceling the Brampton University. I think it would have helped a lot of students, especially during this pandemic, if we had a university. He canceled the university funding in 2018, which was super crucial to our community. It would have created so many jobs, and it was a great contract. So we really missed out on this, but the Ontario Liberal Party and I personally will be working very hard on this project because education is so important. We are always investing in education for our children, so they should be able to go to school in this riding. Right. And a lot of the students in Brampton actually commute outside of Brampton East or Brampton in general to go to university. So they'll go to Ryerson or University of Toronto, and they end up spending a lot of money commuting. Absolutely. Where the Ontario Liberal Party wants to bring Buck a Ride province-wide, which is $1 transit all across Ontario to make sure that, you know, Bramptonians are saving and constituents across Ontario. But specifically for Brampton, that means that every student or commuter is saving $270 per month. So, and we know education can be expensive. We know affordability is a major crisis, so we're trying to put money back into our commuters and students' pockets.
Okay, nice. And what do you think, like people in Brampton are, thinking about the policies you're looking out for them?
I think a lot of people are resonating with our policies because, again, affordability is a major issue. Absolutely. And we saw that the Ford government did not prioritize this during this pandemic. They were focusing more on their big corporation buddies. And they are not the only people in this community. We have lots of workers. We have lots of small businesses that were neglected. We have lots of families that were neglected during this pandemic. And the Ford government has not they've not prioritized our community. So simply, you know, putting that ahead, we know that by providing families with $2,750 per child, that will help a lot of the families who had a tough time during this pandemic. So we want to make sure that, you know, each part of our platform is resonating with our members of our community.
Okay. And can you talk about the healthcare for the seniors?
Oh, of course. I think a lot of seniors have been very disappointed because they feel very neglected as well. And they built our economy. They built Ontario. We have one of the largest senior population, and it's continuing to grow. So we will be putting $1,000 top up in the Ontario Old Age Security Pension to make sure that, you know, our seniors can keep up with the inflation. You've seen gas prices, you have seen groceries increase. Right. They can't afford this inflation with the pension that they have right now. Absolutely. So it's so important that we're adding $1,000 a year to their Ontario Old Age Security, and with that we will move forward.
Okay. Can you talk about your accomplishments so far?
So I've lived in Brampton East since 1999. I am a big part of this community, has my heart. And I also have my small business in Brampton East as well. I have a tutoring center, and we are a ministry inspected high school. Okay. So it's so important that we support our community. And I think as a small business owner, I feel very accomplished that I made it through the entire pandemic without closing my doors. It was very difficult. The last 2 years have not been easy, but that is what has also motivated me to run in this election. I also used to work at Queen's Park in 2017. I was a regional advisor to the Liberal caucus for the Golden Horseshoe. So I covered the Peel, Halton, Hamilton, and Niagara regions. And I got to work with a lot of policy, which I do believe when I am elected, it will help me bring the community more resources that we deserve, that we did not see during this pandemic. So again, it's so important that, you know, we have accomplishments, but we use our accomplishments to better help and service our community.
Nice. And can you talk about your volunteering? Like if people want to volunteer with you, so how will they contact you?
Oh, well, we are always looking for volunteers. Again, as I said, May 19th to 28th is advanced voting, so we need a lot of help. You can join us at 7 Sunpack Boulevard, Unit 5, and we're open all the time these days, and you're welcome at any time. And you can call us at 647-532-1415. That's 647-532-1415.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll take a short break and we'll be back on this Ontario Elections 2022. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
For all your tax and accounting consulting needs, call Waris Shah your own tax and accounting consultant. Based in Mississauga. Call now 905-232-7829.
And Chic Salon. Experienced and talented staff, where you will find awesome skills and outstanding work, where skill is everything. A variety of modern style, simple and elegant, what you need. Call to set up your appointment. 2763 Danforth Avenue, Scarborough, Ontario, 416-460-4592.
Hi, I'm Samira Ali. I'm running to be your MPP in Milton. Our voices are going unheard. We need to stand up for our schools, our teachers, our communities, our seniors, our frontline workers, our small businesses, our families, and our children. Stand up with me. Stand up for Milton.
Hello, I'm Nina Tangri, your PC candidate from Mississauga Streetsville. Under the leadership of Doug Ford, the Ontario PC Party will get it done. We're building a new Mississauga hospital with 350 new beds, and we're building and upgrading long-term care beds. We're supporting skilled trade workers and immigrants, and we're building Highway 413 to save you time and money. On June 2nd, vote for me, Nina Tangri, because only a PC government will get it done.
Welcome back. We are live today. We are talking about the elections, Ontario elections 2022, and with us is our guest tonight, Jannat Garewal, and we'll continue talking with her. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, Jannat, can you talk about how are you feeling about these elections?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Of course, it's not 100%. We still, again, advanced voting is May 19th to May 28th. So until we pull our vote, then we'll have a better idea of how things look. But every day we go door knocking, and we feel like the platform that the Ontario Liberal Party has is resonating with our community. I think a lot of people like it. It's seniors are really happy about it because we are the only party talking about caring about seniors.
Right.
We want to increase the wage for personal support workers so we can promote more in-home care. Our community knows that we don't really put our parents in senior homes. Our parents want to age at home gracefully. So we are providing in-home care for our seniors, and they love that. I think a lot of parents are are also finding that easier if a nurse will come to their home instead of having to take a senior to the hospital, because our hospital system in Brampton is not doing so well. It's very pressed. So again, we're talking about the hospital, where we are saying we are going to provide more funding. We will finish building Peel Memorial, which is something that the Liberal government had promised in 2017. We kept it, but the Ford government had canceled. And we are reminding everyone at the doors that we will be investing in your children's education. Everyone is really upset, especially mothers, because during the pandemic, the online learning was not a good system at all. Mothers were sitting with their child every day on Zoom, and they were neglecting their work from home duties because their priority was to get their child educated.
Right.
So it's so important that, you know, we focus on education, building our schools. We will be hiring 10,000 teachers as like when we're elected. We will be also providing a cap of classes at 20 children per class. And I think that will make a huge difference, because a lot of children were neglected during online learning, where now they will get some sort of support from their teachers. They will get some sort of attention that they missed.
Right.
So it's really important. The education platform is working. A lot of families are happy with it, which the Ford government is not talking about. The Ford government is not talking about inflation and how it affects us.
Right.
So, you know, these things are really important because we want to make sure life is more affordable for Bramptonians.
Right.
And so the platform is working. So I think on June 2nd, we will have optimal chances.
Okay.
I do believe that, because the voters, we've made it very clear that we are prioritizing the voters and not the big bucks bias anymore.
Okay.
That system is not working for us. We've seen what it has done over the last 2 years, and it has caused a lot of separation in our community. So we want to make sure we're prioritizing small businesses. A lot of small businesses in my area are happy with our plan because they know that we are prioritizing them over big corporations.
Okay.
We want to tax big corporations, which is making a lot of people happy to know, because they want the tax relieved from themselves. So the platform is definitely a good platform to vote based off of. I think the debate also helped us because Stephen Del Duca was very composed. He knew exactly what he was talking about, and he was very stern on his decisions. He was able to get his ideas across very gracefully, and I think a lot of our voters appreciated someone who has a vision and knows how to implement it. So it's been really good. We have a good response at the doors, and I'm really excited to pull vote for the next 10 days.
Nice, thanks. And I have a question, like, if you win these elections, any 3 major things you want to implement or change?
Oh, of course. So again, I am an educator and I'm a small business owner.
Yeah.
And I think, again, our education system during the pandemic was very neglectful, and it lacked structure and support for our children. So I would like to create a community classroom on twice a week so that we can teach children across the riding and give them free tutoring. It's something that I'm personally very passionate about. I want to make sure that all children are thriving and finding their niche when they go to school. A lot of our children don't want to go to school right now because they don't feel confident in the classroom. And it's so important that they should know about what's going on in math, science, and English, and art, and history. So we want to make sure that we're supporting our students by creating a community classroom. I also would like to create a Brampton East scholarship where I personally will be paying for, I will pay for the first year tuition of a student every year. Because I think it's so important to motivate our community and show children that we are there for you. We've had a lot of emphasis on education, and I just think right now a lot of students are not interested in it because they don't know what they want to do. And then moving on to my third thing, kids don't know what they want to do in school. They're a little bit lost. So we want to create an apprenticeship program where I am personally connecting students in my riding to small businesses.
Nice.
So college students, university students who are looking to work in certain fields and want to know what it's like, they never are able to get experience on their resume. So we want to connect them with small businesses in our community so that they can get their hands dirty, and then small businesses can have some manpower to expand. A lot of my students, especially like Electricians, for example, they need to do 1,000 hours in order to complete their diploma.
Absolutely.
And they can't find an electrician who will give them the hours. So a lot of students are stuck in that phase where they're trying to find an internship, but they can't get one. And we need to bridge those two gaps so that, you know, kids can get into work right away without having that waiting period. Like, I remember when I graduated from school, I did my biological sciences and I minored in physical sciences, and I couldn't find a job. It took me a really long time.
True.
And then because I worked with the Liberal Party for 18 years, I had the opportunity to run a few campaigns, and I worked in Sonia Sidhu's office, but it wasn't in my field. And, you know, it took a long time to find something in my field. And then I became passionate about education, working at Queen's Park. But a lot of students struggle with this, and I just want to make sure we're closing that gap.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you so much, because the students are our future.
Of course.
So, and like you said, they need help, and yeah, that's absolutely right.
We need to be motivating them into work.
That's a great idea, I think.
Yeah, they're moving us into this job sector. Like, they have to, when they get into the corporate world, or when they get into their jobs, they're kind of like, what do? I don't have the experience for this. And then they job jump for a little bit because they don't know what they want to do. So if we bring in apprenticeship programs, we will be motivating students to figure out what they want to do earlier, so that you know, they can change their diploma or degree, or they can advance or look for different options. I think children need more options.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a great idea, I think. And you have any message for our viewers, and we'll end the session.
Okay, yeah, of course. So again, I am Jannat Garwal. I am your Ontario Liberal candidate for Brampton East, which is Mayfield, all the way south to Steeles, and then Highway 50 to west to Torbram. And I have a little pocket of Bramley and Sandalwood as well. And if you are in my riding, please feel free to come to my campaign office whenever you feel like it, because we need help and support. On May 19th, we have advanced voting to May 28th at the Gore Meadows Community Center. And we need your help, we need your support. If you are a young Liberal, we want to make sure that, you know, you're getting involved in our campaign. You can meet us at 7 Sunpack Boulevard, Unit 5. That's 7 Sunpack Boulevard, Unit 5. And my phone number is 647-532-1415. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much, Jannat Garwal. And we'll take a short break, and we will be back with this live transmission of elections with another guest. So stay tuned.
Hi, my name's Imran Mia. I'm a proud first-generation Canadian looking to inspire positive change as the next member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga, Erin Mills. I am a dedicated father, devoted husband, and a strong community advocate. With over 20 years of business and leadership experience, I understand the challenges and the opportunities facing our community. As your MPP, I'll focus on creating more affordable housing, improving our publicly funded healthcare and education systems, empowering our seniors to live independently, and fighting the effects of climate change. I am ready to listen to your concerns and fight on your behalf for a better, greener, and more affordable future for all Ontarians.
भी कनेडा वाले हो जो रेडी और अल्लाह की कसम साढ़े नाल रंगीला भी हैगा जे ते ना कहना दसिया
chic salon. Experienced and talented staff, where you will find awesome skills and outstanding work, where skill is everything. A variety of modern style, simple and elegant what you need. Call to set up your appointment. 2763 Danforth Avenue, Scarborough, Ontario, 416-460-4592.
Hi, this is Sharif Sabawi, your MPP of Mississauga Inlands. It is my honor to represent the people of Mississauga Inlands. Since taking the office, I have been doing my best to help individuals, families, and businesses right here in Mississauga Inlands. During the pandemic, the government of Ontario has worked very hard to save lives, keep Ontarians healthy, and sustain small businesses that were experiencing hardship due to the lockdown. Then, now, and always, I promise to be the voice of my riding. If you have any problem, issue, concern, or question, please contact my office anytime. I will be more than happy to meet with you and discuss any concerns you might have. Even if we can't solve your problem, we will tell you where to go to get some help. Your MPP, Sharif Sabawi.
Yeah. Welcome back viewers after the break. जैसे कि आपको इल्म है कि आज हम लाइव ट्रांसमिशन कर रहे हैं और हमारे साथ डिफरेंट कैंडिडेट्स जो हैं इस ट्रांसमिशन में जुड़ रहे हैं। इससे पहले हमारे पास लिबरल कैंडिडेट थी और अब हमारे साथ पीसी के कैंडिडेट हैं। ये हमने जो सिलसिला शुरू किया हुआ है, जैसे कि आपको इल्म है कि पिछले वीक भी हमने लाइव ट्रांसमिशन की थी और वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न के प्लेटफॉर्म के ऊपर हम जितने भी हमारे कैंडिडेट्स हैं ब्रैम्पटन से, मिसिसागा से, जहाँ जहाँ से भी उनको हम दावत दे रहे हैं, आप तक लेके आ रहे हैं। उनका जो विज़न है, उनका जो पार्टी का मैंडेट है, उसके हवाले से उनसे बात कर रहे हैं। और मेरे साथ इस वक्त स्टूडियो में हैं शरीफ सबावी साहब। लेकिन अगर आपने अभी हमें ज्वाइन किया है, अगर आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो ड्यूरिंग हमारी ट्रांसमिशन के, तो आप हमें स्टूडियो में कॉल कर सकते हैं। 905-670-4114 हमारे स्टूडियोज़ का लाइन के नंबर हैं। 905-670-4114 इज़ द नंबर टू कॉल। हमारा सोशल मीडिया हैंडल जो है @voiceofTorontoTV है। हमारा ईमेल एड्रेस है voiceoftorontotv@gmail.com और हमारे स्टूडियोज़ के लाइन के नंबर आप स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं। So we'll go back to our next candidate, Mr. Sharif Sabawi. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Anjam.
Thank you for joining us, and I really appreciate that you always take time to come to the studios. With this, obviously, with this election campaign that you are on right now, knocking the doors and everything, it becomes a very long day for you.
True.
How is the campaign going so far right now for you, from your perspective into your riding?
I think it's going good. I think in general, I feel that the people appreciate what the government did during the last period of time, during the COVID time. They understand some of the challenges, and we sometimes need to explain to them. Like when we speak to some of the constituents, they say, well, I didn't agree on everything the government did during COVID, and I say, that's very expected. Like, we look into many aspects when we take a decision. Some of those aspects might be in good terms with some people and bad terms of some other people, and vice versa. Next one would be the reverse.
Correct.
So when we evaluate a situation, take a decision, it always depends on the circumstance of the decision, the advisory board, the medical chief medical officers, and at the end of the day, all the other aspect of that.
Yeah.
And we look into all the directions, 360 degrees from different point of view, different aspect. Those aspects doesn't apply for everyone. So it will be some diversity of opinion in
Right.
some of the issues, and that's expected.
You know, one of the questions that I always think with these elections, you know, when they come and, you know, get into that spirit of elections.
Yes.
And you see the door knocking, you see the lawn signs and all that.
Yeah.
You know, in people's mind, there is always a question, you know, last 4 years ago, I have voted for this party, but this guy never came back and talked to me. And now we are after 4 years, we are in an election again, and now we see them back. Now, I know you are very vocal, you go out into all the functions, we see you everywhere in events and everything. What is one of your strongest, you know, one of your strongest, I would say, election notation that you have when you're going out and talking to people right now versus 4 years ago before pandemic and a lot of change in pandemic? What is that one thing that you are experiencing that you have never experienced before?
Well, you are totally right. Like when somebody tell me, you know, I didn't see you since last 4 years, and I say, I go to about between 20 and 40 events per week. This event can be as simple as a prayers, a mass, a mosque, a bazaar, a musical event, poetry event sometimes, ghazal, like everything.
Right.
Every kind of opportunity to be visible to the people. I'm not like, I don't understand Urdu. So when I attend the ghazal night, I'm not gonna understand anything of the poetry said there. But I'm there to be visible to the people. Like somebody can approach me and you will see something will put for Hazel McKillian talking about the attending events. He's saying attending events not really to enjoy the event as much as being available to the people.
Available to the people.
I'm making myself available to the people. And on top of that, I send emails every week. I send newsletter per week, weekly, about summary of this week. What did we do this week? Okay.
So what are people asking you lately when you go to events, especially in this season of elections? When they come up to you, what do they say?
I would say I would rate the questions.
Okay.
First area they ask about is the vaccine. It was like the top priority, like who's gonna get vaccine, who's not gonna get the vaccine, from different aspects related to vaccine. If I have a kid, I don't want to give him vaccine. Or if I have a mom which is not yet above 70, but I hope she can get the vaccine, or like something related to vaccine. That's topic number one.
That's number one.
It was. Number two was locking down. Are you gonna lock down that? I have a wedding. My son is gonna do a wedding in summer. Are you sure we are not gonna close because he's gonna pay lots of money for the hall, and I don't want to lose that money and da 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 da. That's we need to prepare. Third one about schools. Are you gonna open? Are you gonna close the schools and make it online because some of the opposition candidates saying, "Oh, the government is aiming to do online for everything. People stay at home." That's not the fact of things. Now those priorities keep changing. Now the top one is travel.
Yeah.
Are we gonna travel? What about if I'm not having the vaccine? How I'm gonna be traveling? The airlines don't want to book me ticket unless I'm having the vaccine, and I don't want to take the vaccine. That's a kind of the top. So the dynamics, it keeps changing from time to time.
I see Premier Doug Ford's message on different stations. And one of the captions of that message is, "This is a hope election."
Yes.
Are we really hoping for that? I mean, our Ontarians are looking forward to that. This election is going to be a hope for new jobs, a hope for people to travel frequently, a hope that people don't get into the gridlocks anymore, and there's going to be more stuff going to happen on the highways. It's going to be less times at the triage at the hospitals, adding on more hospitals, more doctors. What is the hope? What is that hope message that the Premier is putting on to the Ontarians?
All of the above and more.
Okay.
So that's a short answer. So we were, because of the COVID, everything got stalled. All the investments, all the infrastructure we were planning to do, all the changes we are trying to make to open Ontario for business got stalled because of the COVID. Then we got into really deep depression because we can't go out, we can't do business, business is bad, economy is bad, social is bad, psychologically is bad, like mentally is bad, like everything is kind of, even spiritually, like we can't go to the mosque, we can't go to the church. So we are upset, we are depressed. Now we are opening, everything got open, people start kind of relaxing, but with some suspicious, are we going to get back to that? So when we say hope, one of the pillars of the 5 pillars of our campaign is keep Ontario open.
Okay.
So putting plans to make sure that if we hit COVID again or hit another pandemic, we stay open. How are we gonna plan around staying open? The hope that even if things got worse, we will stay open and safe and open. So that's what he meant by hope. Of course, looking into more jobs, it's happening. We see the curve is going up. We have the lowest unemployment rate in decades. Talk to any small business. He will tell you, give me people. I'll tell you, my campaign, give me people. We can't find people, volunteers, paid, jobs, skilled, non-skilled, students, part-time, full-time. There's shortage in every direction when it comes to employment. So this is a hope. That means that we are opening the business now absorbing more workers. We need more hands. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Because look at it. Like when I'm hiring people for $15 minimum wage and I can't find any worker, what should I do? I will hire for 17. I will hire for 18 if I can find the right people. I will hire for 20 if I can find the right person skilled to do the job. So that's actually creating demand, creating not by minimum wage or by enforcing money. It's a market balance will allow people to ask and get more higher salaries.
Tell our viewers 5 major agendas. 5. There should be so many, but let's keep on about 5 right now. The top of the list that the PC have.
Healthcare. Okay. We are trying to complete what we started, putting money in infrastructure, upgrading our health infrastructure to cope with that. When somebody tell me, you didn't build the hospitals and that's why we got that situation in COVID, I tell them hospital take 6 to 7 years to complete. Even if I arrive to the office, first days a shovel hit the ground, it wouldn't be ready for COVID. That should be done 10 years ago. When I came to Canada 27 years ago, there was only 2 hospitals, Credit Valley, Mississauga Hospital. And we were 200,000. Now we are 1.some million and 2 hospitals. Don't complain about the health problems because we are serving with 2 hospitals 5 times the number of people we're serving when they were built. So the logical thing is, along the line 10, 15 years ago, there should be a plan for another hospital, upgrade of a hospital to make sure that it cope with the capacity. That never happened.
So I see that the Premier does talk about the adding on more hospitals.
Yes.
But what I, as a layman, when I go to a hospital and I see there is hallway, hospital, 8 or 10 hours of lineup before you could be seen, you are in pain, or when you go to the hospitals, you have so much going on with you, and psychologically, emotionally, and then you don't see a doctor, you don't get to see a doctor for hours. What is the Premier plan, if he comes back as re-elected Premier? How is going to minimize those triage times? What is the fast track process that he has in place?
We already start, as I mentioned, something doesn't happen, like it's not a trigger where I can say, click, now hallway healthcare is gone. It's gonna take time. And we already started that. Building hospitals is one element of that.
Right.
Long-term care beds, because when you need to disembark somebody from the hospital, you need that bed badly, you need to be able to disembark that person to some place.
Right.
If you don't have that place, what usually happens in this patient can stay in this hospital bed for 3 months, 5 months, a year, and that will eliminate us from able to use that bed for another patient. So we need to make sure that the bed of the hospital is 48 hours serving.
Okay.
So then when we have quick run, meaning if you don't need to be in the hospital, he can be going for a long-term care, then we can reuse that bed. Then we would say the cycle goes faster and we have more spots to put patients. You don't have to stay in a hallway.
So those are all the logistics that
Yes.
you are just discussing. I was more referring into the question that the doctor shortage that we have in the
Yes.
province of the hospitals.
Yes.
What is the premium plan for that?
Okay, shortage of doctors have it's a problem having multiple aspects of it. One of it is we are graduating. We need to graduate more doctors, and we did. Like we have them in Brampton, there's a new medical school, and we have a new medical school in. We have two new medical schools in Scarborough.
Okay.
So we have no new 2 medical schools going to graduate, about maybe 40 each. So another 80 doctors will be added a year. So that's going to solve some problem. Number 3, we need to accelerate the doctors' track. So the doctors who are qualified, having enough experience internationally to be able to get quickly in the system. The IMGs, the International Medical Graduates. And I'm talking about my experience. My wife is a doctor. She had to study for 4 years, which is very acceptable. But for her to get into a licensing, she has to get 2 years of Canadian experience, which she can't get anywhere. So she ended up to go to another province, which accepted her for another 2 years, supposedly 2 years, and come back. And even for her coming back, the mobility of skilled workers is not easy. Took her 7 years. So 11 years in total to be able to practice her main.
So this is a question. For example, a lot of doctors are driving taxis,
Yeah.
Ubers, and doing other odd jobs. But if they are doctor from back home, they have done their medical schools, they got MBBS, they have worked in surgeries, or they work in emerge or triages and all those kind of things, orthopedic, or you name it. When they come here, why is not the province doing something easier for them to be adjusted into the program?
Yes.
Where they can be under supervision, go into the hospitals and don't operate, but be as a consultant with the other doctors. At least they probably have more education back home than they are getting here. But so what is the plan in that,
Okay.
Mr. Sabavi? I mean, I'm just saying in
Yeah,
general.
sure.
You know?
Let me tell you, this is one of my priorities. Like I've been talking about IMGs because I myself, as a person,
Correct.
as an immigrant, as a newcomer to Canada, I suffered from that.
Yeah.
Like when my wife left home, my kid was in grade 4. When she came back home from Manitoba, he was in university. So imagine, from grade 4 to university.
Correct.
So we suffered for that. So I have been working that item, and I'm happy to say that Bill 27 solved this issue for 27 different professions.
Okay.
Non-medical, still the medical, because they are governed through a different bills.
Yeah.
We have to work in those bills, but I promise that I will change that. Canadian experience qualifier, and took me 23 years, but it got solved. And I'm very happy that, as I mentioned that even my speech in the parliament said, I am done with that. My 2 sons were born here, they don't have that problem, but I am discussing that and spending this time to fight for the people, because there will be thousands and thousands and thousands of families, immigrants coming to Canada, having the Canadian dream. They are here to build a better life, and we should help them. It's a benefit for Ontario, it's a benefit for the new immigrants.
Okay, let's go another subject. Thank you for clarifying some of the things, but I believe it is the need of time. We need to work on a fast track process.
I think that's going to be one of the priorities as soon as we go back, is to complete the job done. Working for workers.
We had the debate that happened between all the leaders. How do you think Mr. Ford has came out of that?
I think he did great, in my opinion. He managed to stay on the message. Like, we could fight the whole day. Left, right, middle, up, past, for future, you will do, you won't do, you did deliver, you didn't deliver. But end of the day, we need to stay focused. We are in a very critical moment in the Ontario history because of the COVID and the economical situation we are in. We need a clear commitment to open Ontario for business, clear commitment to create jobs, clear commitment to continue our financial route to get Ontario back on track. And I think the track record of the Conservative in economy just by itself give us that credibility. And Doug Ford did give the commitment for that.
No, I mean, we understand that, being in the media, I mean, we see everything that unfolds. We see that there's a lot of things that the government has done has favored Ontarians. One thing that I always feel with this pandemic and during this election, do you think he's getting the sympathy votes, or he have earned the votes of the Ontarians after the pandemic?
I don't see why we should say it's sympathy vote. I think it's more maybe fair vote. Like I would say, when I knock a door and the guy say, you know what, I'm liberal and I don't like Conservative, I think Doug Ford did a decent job.
Okay.
And maybe it's fair to give him opportunity, another opportunity to show us more. That's a fair vote.
Okay.
I can get another category, like a teacher. You say, I'm a teacher, I didn't vote for you. Most probably I won't vote for you. But for records, your government did a good job. That's a testimony I like. And I say, thank you very much. Yes, I really care about your vote, but I respect your opinion and I respect your feedback. Some other people would say, like, I'll tell you some story, I don't know. Like, I was walking one street and a very nice old guy is like shampooing the car in the sun, the sunny day. And I was saying, Mr. Doug Ford should done that, should done this, should done that, should done this. I said, thank you. I gave him the flyer and I walked out to other houses. When I'm coming back after we finished the street, and I say, by the way, what I said is constructive criticism. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to vote for Mr. Ford. And I said, like, thank you. I'm happy about that. He said, this is a very precious vote. This is the first time I vote Conservative since 1978. I think that's tell you something.
There is another quote that he is using in his rallies and campaign, and that is yes to everything. Yes to the highways. Yes to Highway 7. Yes to 413. Yes to the jobs. Yes to adding on,
Yes.
So, which is a good thing. But when you look at another perspective, when you have the other leaders and the opposition, Andrea Horwath or Stephen Del Duca, when they are talking about this, they kind of, with that notion, they said everything is yes. I mean, is he really saying what he's saying? So I feel, as a moderator, I'll feel that there's a lot of things he has done which were very good. Some of the times we felt as just laymen or residents of this province that our province was shut down more often, more longer than the other provinces. When those decisions were made during that election, during that pandemic period, was everybody on board, or what he was making like a decision on himself and he say, no, I'm a premier, I'm saying this, and this is how it's going to be, is my way or highway, that kind of thing?
No, I mean the discussions in the caucus usually everybody involved and everybody says their opinion, and the majority decide.
Okay.
Yes, I have to be fair to say that we know from the discussion that there is a tendency, or I would say, appetite to do this. Like, we understand from the discussions that the majority are into doing this, but it doesn't mean that we don't voice the other voices. We say, by the way, guys, what we are feeling from the field. I myself, because I was a PA for Minister of Tourism, Heritage, Culture and Sports, I was in every restaurant in my riding, or not even in my riding, outside my riding too, all the big chains. So I have the pulse of that industry. So I keep saying, guys, you understand that we told them, for example, that we are going to open and we decided to close.
Right.
Yes, they will say, yes, we understand, we'll tailor something, we'll compensate them. Yes, I noted it, we took a note of that. So I was their voice, even if that wasn't exactly what you want to happen, but I voiced their concern. And that's what I always promise. I don't promise you that every time I will be able to get what you want done, but I promise you that your voice will be on the table, you will be heard.
Okay. Viewers, you are watching Voice of Toronto Television's live transmission. This is Ontario Vote 2022, and we have our dear friend Sharif Sabawi with us. We're going to go on just 2 minutes of a break. There are a lot of messages that we would like to play for you from different candidates, and please watch that. Do you have a question? Please give us a call at the studio lines, which is 905-670-4114. Do not change this channel, and we'll come back to you in about 2 minutes of break. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay with us. Thank you.
4 years ago, Doug Ford and the Ontario PCs were elected with a strong mandate to build a better province for the people. After 14 years of Liberal neglect, Ontario needed change, and we delivered. We put shovels in the ground to build highways and transit projects. We expanded hospitals and created thousands of long-term care beds. We provided historic investments in education and healthcare. We created opportunities for skilled trades, healthcare workers, new Canadian skilled professionals, as well as small businesses. We protected and created thousands of jobs and opened up Ontario for business. But our work isn't yet finished. The Ontario PCs have a plan to make life easier and more affordable for you and your family. A plan that will build more infrastructure and open up our province for economic development. I am Sharif Sabawi, and I'm running for re-election to serve as your member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga, Illinois. So Doug Ford and I can continue this important work. The Ontario PCs are the only ones who will get it done.
Hello, I'm Nina Tangri, your PC candidate from Mississauga Streetsville. Under the leadership of Doug Ford, the Ontario PC Party will get it done. We're building a new Mississauga hospital with 350 new beds, and we're building and upgrading long-term care beds. We're supporting skilled trade workers and immigrants, and we're building Highway 413 to save you time and money. On June 2nd, vote for me, Nina Tangri, because only a PC government will get it done.
लावी कनेडा वाले हो जो रेडी और अल्लाह दी कसम साडे नाल रंगीला भी हैगा जे ते ना कहना दसिया नहीं.
For all your tax and accounting consulting needs, call Waris Shah, your own tax and accounting consultant. Based in Mississauga, call now 905-232-7829.
Hello everyone, my name is Nasser Shah. I specialize in any mortgages, loans and franchise business. For any such need, please contact me.
years ago, Doug Ford and the Ontario PCs were elected with a strong mandate to build a better province for the people. After 14 years of Liberal neglect, Ontario needed change, and we delivered. We put shovels in the ground to build highways and transit projects. We expanded hospitals and created thousands of long-term care beds. We provided historic investments in education and healthcare. We created opportunities for skilled trades, healthcare workers, new Canadian skilled professionals, as well as small businesses. We protected and created thousands of jobs and opened up Ontario for business. But our work isn't yet finished. The Ontario PCs have a plan to make life easier and more affordable for you and your family. A plan that will build more infrastructure and open up our province for economic development. I am Chief Sabawi, and I'm running for re-election to serve as your member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga Erin Mills, so Doug Ford and I can continue this important work. The Ontario PCs are the only ones who will get it done.
वेलकम बैक व्यूअर्स, आप देख रहे हैं वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न की लाइव नशरियात ओंटारियो वोट 2022 और इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मुख्तलिफ़ कैंडिडेट्स जो हैं वो आएँ और हम आपको उनके साथ मिलाएं, उनसे हम बहुत सारे सवाल करें, जो उनका मैंडेट है, जो उनका विज़न है, तो उस हवाले से उनसे बात करें। तो आज हमारे साथ जो कैंडिडेट हैं वह शरीफ सबावी साहब। इससे पहले आपने देखा जो जन्नत ग्रेवाल थी, लिबरल की कैंडिडेट थी। लास्ट वीक हमारे साथ नीना टांगरी भी थी, समीरा अली भी थी, इमरान मियाँ भी थे। तो बहुत सारे ब्रैम्पटन मिसिसागा के कैंडिडेट जो हैं वो हमारे साथ अटैच हो रहे हैं और हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि आने वाले दिनों के अंदर और भी जो कैंडिडेट्स हैं उनके साथ भी आपकी बात करवाई जाए। सो कमिंग बैक टू यू मिस्टर सबावी, a nice clip we saw that it's a good video, your good message that we just saw. A couple of things about your riding. So you have a mixed population who lives there, Arabic people, Christians, Muslims, Indians and all that. What is the general consensus regarding the elections right now when you are going out to door and talking to people, being yourself as a previous an MPP and you going for re-election? What is the mood out there?
I think it's a mood of hope, as the Premier said. Like the people, like I was expecting that knocking doors, people will talk about COVID. People are not talking about COVID anymore.
Okay.
People are talking, okay, what's after COVID? Like we are done with the COVID, what's next?
What's next?
So I think lots of people, despite the fact of the political attribute being liberal or NDP or conservative, they start like I have the feel that they think that I think next period of time needs a conservative. We need somebody who can look into the economy, who can post the jobs, who can get us off ground. And that's the general consensus which I feel from the discussions. Everybody's worried, you know, with all this lockdown and money spent and business lost and revenues lost, which means taxes revenues lost too. What's going to happen? There's uncertainty about the future, economical future. And especially the panicking because of the gas prices going up, which causing everything price to goes up. Now the panicking is start getting more. So they, in that stage of time, I think people start looking into conservatives saying, you know, we think that they are better into the economical side of the running the house. The conservative fiscal responsibility is important in this stage of time to be able to get the economy back on track.
A lot of people who watch on the transmissions, you know, to you guys and, you know, with us, some of them, they join us, you know, they are new to our station or they are new to this country. How many seats do you guys have in the House in the Queen's Park?
122. The
122. How many seats one require to be into the power?
63 plus.
63 plus. You have to make the government.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make majority government.
Majority government. Okay. So what are your expectations in this elections versus the last election? How many seats you're thinking you're going to gain more in all over Ontario? If that number is going to go up, or
okay, my expectation is based on my observing on the field, not based on anything. Like I'm not pretending that I have any internal information or whatever.
Right.
I think we'll get more seats this time than last time.
Okay.
There was many challenges last time.
Okay.
And there was many suspicious.
And what is the reason that people will vote more to your party versus other parties?
That's what I'm saying. Like for 15 years,
because
when the liberals were there, they demonized the conservative. Like they were frightening people from the conservative as if the conservative came, they might lose their kids, kind of thing. You know, so people were afraid from the conservative. Yes, they voted for us, but they voted for us with fear. They discovered that the conservatives are very good and they're doing very well, and the people, like you even you understand that from discussion. Like we are surprised and impressed by the performance of Doug Ford. Like impressed. Like the word impressed is very strong, meaning like I wasn't expecting that. The people were expecting something totally different than what they got, especially during the COVID time. The being there, being out there, being in front of the people, being active every day, on the media every day, talking about every subject, every concern, every rumor, every news. He's reacting, and he's feeling. They are feeling that he's a people man. They are feeling that he is talking about what our concerns. It's similar. He has the same concern like we have. So this is, I think, that's made a difference. And as well, Premier Doug, in multiple times came out, and 2 times at least I remember, came out and said, yes, we did that. Yes, we were wrong. We'll fix it. It's very rare to find that.
So he acknowledges that there are a few things that he could have done better.
Yes.
And he said next time.
Apologized, fixing it immediately, going back. And that's what some of the opposition say, he's flapper, he flaps. He's not flapping, he listens. When we say this is not working, please, we'll need to fix that. He have the strength to come out and say, yes, it wasn't right, I'm sorry, we'll fix it.
Yeah, there's one of the words that in one of the statements I also heard, where Ontarians or Canadians, it's like been called as laborers or workers. So rather addressing them as Canadians, I mean in general I'm talking about. I've been hearing different things. So, but I hear that he's pretty open to bringing more. Even the refugees into Ontario and get them settled here as well from the Ukraine. The federal government is trying to bring them in. So he's pretty vocal on that. What is his stance on bringing more refugees into Ontario when they come to Canada?
Okay, let me divide your question to two parts.
Sure.
We can't bring refugees. Like the refugees already been accepted by the federal, and they are welcomed. Like Canada is
as a
very welcoming
Ontario.
country, and will absorb and accept refugees and immigrants as well. So, as a province, we know for a fact that Ontario is the most attractive destination to immigrants. The most attractive. Everybody.
So when these refugees do come in Ontario under the federal program, do they get special subsidized housing where they live on a very, very small amount of money because they still get funded from the government, right? I mean, is that true?
I think, are you talking about the refugees specifically? When they arrive, I think they have 1 year, they receive monthly payments which can help them to get a housing and get their life going until they get their PR and stuff.
Okay.
So that's generally all the refugees, not Ukrainian. Okay. The Afghan did the same thing. The Afghani did the same thing. The Syrian did the same thing. It's all the refugees alike. They might get plus or minus some dental, for example. They added dental for Syrians because they were coming from some spot where there's post-traumatic and war and stuff. So they give them extra piece. But generally, that's a federal part. Now, as a province, part of our understanding the fact that we attract more by default, we attract more immigrants and refugees. We need to plan how we integrate those new immigrants into the economy for two things. A, they are not burdened on the government. B, they need to live a good life. They are here not to be a refugee on a minimum, very minimum money, support money. They need to
start a new life.
Their new life, they can proceed and get their position in the community, going back to their profession. So we need to help them with that. We need to prepare programs to absorb them, language programs, skilled worker programs, different programs which allow them to get to a job quickly.
Okay. So he's pretty much open to that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that's very smart, and Ontario need those workers. Where we are complaining about shortage in workers
for jobs,
and we have now opportunity to receive this new immigrants, train them, and get them into the working force ASAP. That will benefit both sides.
Two things before we wrap up the show tonight. First of all, we talked about your campaign, we talked about yourself. What is that one thing you would like to communicate to our viewers who are watching you tonight, that the advanced polls are opening? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, advanced polls are open starting of tomorrow. You most probably received your
Yes, I got mine.
Ticket.
Yes.
That electoral ticket, and you will see on the ticket saying early vote in here, regular vote in here, and they will give the dates for the early vote. So it's starting tomorrow. My advice: go early. There will be no rush. There will be no lines. You're gonna go 5 minutes. You're out, and it's done, and you don't have to worry about it.
So advanced polls opens, guys. You guys can go in if you have your ballots. You can go in. If you do, even if you have not received it, you can go in with your ID, and they will have the list. And because sometimes they get mixed up in the mail.
Yes.
So that's good thing about that. We talked about the advanced polls. In regards to the other message which I want you to convey to our viewers is regarding what you have done in the past 4 years, and you feel that if you got re-elected back, you would like to come back and finish it off as a major something that you think that in your heart, sometimes you have, sentiments, I want to do this when I come back, I want to finish this off. What is that one thing that you want to do?
Okay. 23 years ago, I hit, like 27 years ago when I came to Canada, I had the Canadian experience thing, and it was so frustrating to me as a qualified Middle East regional IT Middle East manager to come and work outside my profession for long in Tim Hortons, night shifts and stuff. So I worked hard to change that. I know that we didn't manage to get the medical field into this Bill 27. We added Bill 88, which is mobility of skilled workers, so helping skilled worker, anybody have a license in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, in Halifax, in Vancouver, to move to Ontario seamlessly and easy. Now we're still having one block, which is the medical professions.
Right.
And I said, like, this one of my dedicated reasons to work and help those people who are qualified people. I have a friend who's anesthetic professional, PhD anesthesia. He can't practice here. He still was a senior anesthesia in Munich General Hospital. So he go 2 weeks there, locum, work as an anesthesia doctor in Munich, München Hospital, and come 2 weeks here to work as real estate. I think that's waste for a skilled person to be able to help Ontario, to help our medical system. So I am dedicated to that purpose. I'm going to work during the next period of time. If God will, I will there. I will continue my work in working for workers and help the medical people coming to speed into helping Ontario and helping their families and to initiate a good families using their expertise and skills in Canada and Ontario specifically.
Other than this message, what is that other message that people need to know that they got to go and vote. That is important.
Well, in my riding, we're going to be benefiting from the biggest hospital in Canada, which is going to be built in Mississauga Hospital, Trillium Hospital location. We did the $61 million South Community Center. We did the LRT, which is going to benefit all Mississauga. We have been working in all directions to help our local riding. I think Mississauga, as a city, got for infrastructure funding this 4 years, more than what they got into the past maybe 20 years. Look at the transit, $600 million to upgrade our transit system. 600 million. Look at the number, 600 million.
Yeah.
Yes, big part of that coming from the federal government, but again, it's through the work we did with the city to get the money from the federal government, as well as the money they got from the provincial, from Premier Doug, into this project. So infrastructure-wise, transit-wise, health-wise, education. I had 2 schools in my riding. 2 schools had portables. Now they got buildings instead of portables. We need to continue spending on our infrastructure, because infrastructure takes time and it needs planning. It's a vision. We are going to grow with this amount of people in this amount of time. We have to be ready. Otherwise, we'll have bottlenecks here and there. I think that's a good planning and should be done long time ago, and we'll continue working on that. Hopefully, if God will, we won this election.
Well, we wish you all the best, and always. Thank you very much for coming into the Voice of Toronto studios and sharing this valuable insights to our viewers, for them to make a very important decision, which is to vote. Advance polls open tomorrow. Please check. How do people go and check where they have to go on if they have not received the ballot card?
I think based on the postal code, if they gone to Election Ontario, should be able to route them to their location. Yes.
Okay. Okay. तो नाज़रीन, ये थी हमारी आज की ट्रांसमिशन, और जैसे कि हम बात कर रहे थे कि अगर आपके पास जो वोटर कार्ड होता है, अगर आपको नहीं मिला, तो ontario.ca पे जाके, जो ontarioelection.ca पे जाके आप वो अपने एरिया का वो देख सकते हैं कि एडवांस पोलिंग कहाँ पर है। लॉन्ग वीकेंड आ रहा है, उस पर आप जाके आप वोट्स कर सकते हैं, लाइनों से बच सकते हैं, और इस फरीज़े से भी आप जो हैं वो वो हो सकते हैं कि आपने अपना वोट जो है वो हक़ राय दही आपने इस्तेमाल किया। बट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, यू शुड डू दैट, और अपना फीडबैक ज़रूर दीजिएगा, और कोशिश करेंगे कि दूसरे हमारे जो कैंडिडेट्स हैं उनको भी प्रोग्राम्स के ऊपर हम अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आएँ, उनसे भी बात करें। जून 2 जो है वो ओंटारियो में इलेक्शन होने जा रहे हैं, एडवांस पोल कल से खुल रहे हैं, जैसे कि शरीफ सबावी साहब ने बताया, और अपना ख्याल रखें और हमें भी दुआओं में याद रखें। Please always send us your feedbacks on our email, which is voiceoftorontotv@gmail.com. Our social media handle to follow us is Voice of Toronto TV. Follow us and like us and follow us as much as possible. There are a lot more new programs we are launching in the next coming days. Please stay tuned for that as well. Till then, until next time, thank you for watching Voice of Toronto Television. Bye-bye and good night.
Doug Ford and the Ontario PCs were elected with a strong mandate to build a better province for the people. After 14 years of Liberal neglect, Ontario needed change, and we delivered. We put shovels in the ground to build highways and transit projects. We expanded hospitals and created thousands of long-term care beds. We provided historic investments in education and healthcare. We created opportunities for skilled trades, healthcare workers, new Canadian skilled professionals, as well as small businesses. We protected and created thousands of jobs and opened up Ontario for business. But our work isn't yet finished. The Ontario PCs have a plan to make life easier and more affordable for you and your family. A plan that will build more infrastructure and open up our province for economic development. I am Sharif Sabawi, and I'm running for re-election to serve as your member of Provincial Parliament for Mississauga, Illinois. So Doug Ford and I can continue this important work. The Ontario BCs are the only ones who will get it done.